On our reports tonight, the House of Representatives recently proposed a bill compelling anyone above 18 years and legal age to vote in all elections, with punishment of 6-month jail term or a fine of 100,000 naira or both if failed to. Our staff reporter, Temitope Adedeji, moved round and got people's reaction over this development. His report.
Recently, the House of Representatives proposed a bill on amendment of Electoral Act that failure of any Nigerian above 18 years to vote should be jailed or fined 100,000 naira or both has been criticized by many Nigerians. Steve Otaloro, a politician and public affairs analyst, gave his words.
To start with, I think voting is something every citizen has to participate in, so that we can get the best leader for our country. A situation whereby people are not voting, maybe that is what motivated this bill. And if you could look at it critically, you look at it from the merit part of it that, well, it's just to encourage Nigerians to vote. But at the same time, if you look at the process of voting, it's very cumbersome. A situation whereby people leave their home in the morning and had to return late in the evening. It's not hugger way for democracy itself. These are part of the things that are discouraging people from voting. But if the same bill has to incorporate technology into voting system whereby people could vote even ahead of the elections, as it's been held in the United States of America, for instance, you can post your bill. You can post your votes. You can equally electronic voting system that makes things faster. But if we have to rely on this manual system of voting, I think that bill will not fly. And I want to believe a lot of people will go to jail eventually. So discouraging people from voting the more, that we create. But if they actually wants to encourage Nigerians from voting, they have to make it seamless so that people out of their own volition will come out and vote. I think the bill, to me personally, it's dead on arrival. If other things are not incorporated into it, that will make voting become seamless.
Also, another human rights activist and public affairs commentator, Bolu Oluesho, lent his voice on the issue.
I don't consider this bill as being important now. To me, what the National Assembly should be thinking of is to see how they work on the Electoral Act so that the people's vote could count. Because that is the reason most people stay away from the polling units on the election day. So, if you are telling someone that the person will go to jail because he didn't vote, what about the one he cast the previous election year? Did the vote count? Was it the actual result that was announced at the polling unit that was eventually announced when everything was collected, when all the elections from the different polling units were collected? So that is exactly what the National Assembly should look at. They should go and redesign that bill. Or probably they come up with a different bill entirely. Whoever is being voted in to represent the people, if the person fails, such person should also go to jail. They should be compelled also. That law should compel them to perform. That law should compel them to be accountable to the people. You see, they keep saying it. Look at what the president said when all the citizens were now looking at the president, that it was a president that was not giving the country good governance. And the governor and the president directed them to their governors. Now everybody started looking at what each state were collecting from the as their allocation every month. You see, now are the state governors making use of those money the way they should? Even when they talk of what's it called, these security votes, they will tell you that they are not disclosing it. So, is the money not the people's money? Why will you spend my money without telling me how much you are spending from my money? This is taxpayers' money. So, that is it. There should be another bill that will be passed too, that will hold everybody that is being elected in the public office to go to jail if he or she fails to perform. That is when that bill will be taken. That law will be taken seriously.
However, the piece of legislature is titled Bill for an Act to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to make it mandatory for all Nigerians of maturity age to vote in all national and state elections and for related matters, and is being sponsored by the House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. Just as its name suggests, this bill wants to make it compulsory for all Nigerians, citizens of legal age, to vote in all elections, with the punishment being 100,000 naira fine or 6 months jail term or both. What does this mean? The lawmakers will be tweaking 4 sections of the Electoral Act to effect this change, and they include Section 9, which addresses registration of voters and the responsibilities of the Dependent National Electoral Commission (INEC) regarding the maintenance of voters' registration. Section 10, which lists the eligibility criteria for voter registration and recommended procedure for transferring a voter's registration between locations. Section 12, which outlines the condition for a person to be deemed unqualified for voter registration, and Section 47, which addresses the accreditation of voters and the use of smart card readers or other technologies for voter verification. The details of the amendment are not fully out yet, but at the moment we know they want the amended version of Section 47, subsection 4A of the Electoral Act to read as follows: that it shall be mandatory for all registered voters who have attained the maturity age of 18 and above to vote in all national and state elections. B, that a person who has attained the maturity age of 18 years who refuses to perform his civic duty to vote commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not more than 100,000 or imprisonment for a term not more than 6 months. How will this work? That's the question. Once amended, the new law will require INEC to compile and maintain a voter register comprising the names of Nigerians of legal voting age, 18 years and above, for continuous voter registration. However, the purpose is to end voter apathy. Lawmakers say there is massive voter apathy in Nigeria, and they are sick of it, primarily because it is bad for the democracy of the country. From Akure, the Ondo State capital, Temitope Adedeji reporting for Kaftan TV News.